Well, Peter Bleksley's here. Very good morning to you, Mr. Bleksley.
Pull up to my bumper, baby. That's
You are looking very well, I must say.
Thank you.
Welcome. At this time of the morning, you are looking tremendously well. Welcome to Morning Glory, a place that you know well. There's all sorts of things we can talk about. I guess we should start once again with the international situation. Keir Starmer just a couple of days away from visiting the White House. Emmanuel Macron was there yesterday. A bit of laughing and joking going on. He and Trump are not exactly the best of friends, but they seem to get on all right.
I've got some advice for Keir Starmer.
Have you?
When he goes to Washington.
Yeah.
And that would be wear a name badge.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of people will be going, who's that bloke over there?
Well, do you know what? I said to my producer yesterday, I said, can we find some Washington correspondents to talk to about Keir Starmer to get their view on what they think of him just before he arrives there? Because I can guarantee you that they'll all be going, sorry, who? Yeah. What? What's he doing?
Yeah. And yet again, Donald Trump has clearly shown this week, and it's only Tuesday, that he stands as a political colossus over the global landscape. Macron meeting him yesterday, a very amiable picture on the front page of some of the newspapers, excuse me, with them both laughing and enjoying a moment together.
Yes.
And look how Macron has shifted now.
Yeah.
Look how he's saying.
Well, this is what I've been saying.
We'll provide a nuclear deterrent.
This is what I've been saying. I said it last week when everyone was getting their knickers in a twist about, Donald Trump, what a terrible man. He looks like he's siding with Vladimir Putin. He's rowing Ukraine out of the conversation. They're suddenly having meetings in Saudi Arabia. I was like, just wait and see how it pans out. They're all so desperate to criticise Trump for being a ghastly, horrible, nasty, right-wing individual who's a narcissist that they can't see the wood for the trees.
Because what he is, Donald Trump, is a deal maker.
Yeah.
It's what he's done all his life.
Right.
And anybody who's made a business deal will know that the position that you start from, in all likelihood, will not be the position that you end at when you sign that deal.
Of course not.
But Donald Trump is brilliant at creating a start point, getting conversations going, and thereafter people jockey for position.
Look at where we are now. You know, 3 or 4 weeks ago, nobody in Europe thought that we should be building up our defences. Nobody in Europe thought that we should even be considering doing anything but continuing to feed money to Ukraine until we basically run out of money. Nobody thought it was a good idea maybe to end the war. Suddenly, Donald Trump comes on the scene, and here we are, looking like we're going to end the war, and looking like, actually, even Zelensky is going to be happy with the deal.
And stopping bloodshed surely has to be a good thing. If less mothers lose their children, if less wives lose their husbands and children lose their fathers, and all of that, then surely that has to be beneficial. And, of course, let's not forget, if we rewind just over a month ago, was anybody talking about rebuilding Gaza?
No.
No.
Exactly.
Not a soul on the planet.
No, not even the people in Gaza.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Donald Trump comes into power, and all of a sudden these conversations start happening with, of course, as you've clearly laid out, the left is all getting their knickers in a twist over it and slagging him off.
Yeah.
But look what happens. Things do begin.
Yeah, because as soon as you know, as well as I do, in the business that you were in, and are not perhaps as much involved in it as you were, you know, sometimes you need to grab somebody by the throat to get them to pay attention.
You do. Sometimes you need to be robust.
Exactly.
To grab somebody's attention.
Yeah.
To have them clearly focused on what you're saying.
Hello.
Yeah.
No, you grab them by the throat, put them against the wall, and go, look, mate, this is what we're doing.
Indeed.
I'm sorry. I mean, you know, call me old-fashioned. Let's get a couple of clips on board because let's have Emmanuel Macron first talking about defence of the realm.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you. This is a very important moment for Europe as well, and I'm here as well after discussions with all my colleagues to say that Europe is willing to step up, to be a stronger partner, to do more in defense and security for this continent, and as well to be a reliable partner and to be engaged on trade, economy, investment.
Now, I would call that a capitulation. I don't know about you, Peter, but having been told to step up and been told to do more, he's now sitting in the White House like a child going, yes, we will step up, yes, we will do more, yes, we will build up our defences. Why didn't he say that before Donald Trump came into power? Because nobody had asked him.
a stronger partner, he says. I mean, what a telling phrase.
Yes.
And what was the situation under sleepy Joe Biden? Where was the world?
Nothing.
Just aimlessly drifting towards continual conflict. And now there are peace talks. Now people are talking about how can we stop this bloodshed. Macron this week, Starmer next week, all going there, and I'm sure trying to create a good relationship with Trump, but they know he has politically outmanoeuvred the pair of them in the last few weeks with astonishing aplomb.
Right, and let's not forget, they were all saying last week, oh, but he's such a bad man, he's such a horrible narcissist, it's all about him, he doesn't care about Zelensky, he's never even going to talk to him, he's got no plans to meet him. Have a look at Trump talking about meeting Zelensky.
I will be meeting with President Zelensky. In fact, he may come in this week or next week to sign the agreement, and which would be nice. I'd love to meet him. Would meet at the Oval Office. So the agreement's being worked on now. They're very close to a final deal. It'll be a deal with rare earths and various other things, and he would like to come, as I understand it, here to sign it, and that would be great with me. I think they then have to get it approved by their council or whoever might approve it, but I'm sure that will happen.
So once again, you know, they all got it wrong. He's never going to talk to Zelensky. Why is he not talking to him? Why is he throwing him out the conversation? It was all BS, right? Trump knew exactly what he was doing, and now he's talking about meeting Zelensky.
Because so many of the current breed of politicians, wheresoever in Europe they might be, they've gone to university and they've studied PPE, politics, philosophy and economics, or the equivalent thereof. They leave university.
I've got another phrase for PPE, but I can't say it on the radio, obviously.
They leave university wet behind the ears. Their lifetime's ambition of getting a job for a political party is then fulfilled. And so they go. If you go, look at your Camerons and your Osborns and all those kind of people. Your Starmer's all right, he had a job as a DPP. But so many of that political class, no matter what party they're from, have kind of followed that route. Whereas Donald Trump, all his work in life has been in a boardroom, brokering deals, making contracts, getting agreements, arrangements.
Also, let's not forget, I mean, while Stephen Fry at the weekend on Laura Kuenssberg's show was alleging that Donald Trump is like a gangster, let me tell you something about Donald Trump. When he was putting up the Trump Tower, when he was building buildings in Manhattan, when I was living there in the 80s, he was having to have conversations with the mafia. He was having to have conversations with the Teamsters, the people who put the buildings up, the unions in America, which are riddled with organised crime all over the place, right? He's dealing with those people. I think he can deal with a few politicians, no problem.
And he's proving that. He's absolutely proving that. And yet so many people get on their high horses because he chooses a standpoint which he knows is going to get airtime and column inches throughout the world. He chooses that standpoint, his starter for 10, if you will, and of course he's entirely willing to move from that position because he knows how you broker a deal.
Yes, absolutely right. Let's have a look at him talking about maybe even visiting Russia. Check this out.
Mr. President, are you thinking of going to Moscow soon, maybe in May for the 9th of May for the anniversary?
I mean, not soon, but I would be certainly, if this all gets settled out, which I think it will, sure, I would go there.
On the 9th
and
of May?
he'd come here, too.
On the 9th of May on the Red Square?
I don't know the 9th of May, no, I don't. I think that's pretty soon. But no, at the appropriate time, I would go to Moscow.
Monsieur le Président, est-ce que l'envoi de troupes françaises ou européennes est envisagé en Ukraine?
Within weeks.
They're all getting their knickers in a twist. I just find it amusing. I know these are serious things, these are serious matters, these are, you know, world-changing events, but he's literally running rings around them, and these journalists are sitting there bizarrely just making fools of themselves.
And they are, of course, extremely serious matters. The loss of, and some reliable estimates, I think, say that around 150,000 men have perished on the battlefield since this war began just over 3 years ago. So 50,000 a year, 1,000 a week. Donald Trump realises that scale of bloodshed and death is enormous.
Yeah.
And he wants to do something about it.
Yes.
And if people don't like his methods, well, do you know what? Buckle up, because he's here for another 4 years.
Exactly right. Speaking of here for another 4 years, let's have a look at Keir Starmer. He made a statement yesterday on Ukraine. He took part in a Zoom meeting. You know, it already sounds worse than what Donald Trump's doing, because it's a Zoom meeting. You're fixing the foundations and doing everything we can for working people. This is him, unable, by the way, to speak without a piece of paper in front of him, talking about Ukraine. Check it out.
The UK is with you today and every day. From His Majesty the King to the NHS workers volunteering in hospitals in Ukraine, to the communities that took Ukrainian refugees to their heart. And that's why I signed our 100-year partnership with President Zelensky last month, because we believe in Ukraine's fight today and the country's incredible potential to thrive in the years to come.
Why does he need a piece of paper? It's like me. Here we are. Welcome to Morning Glory. I would like to tell you that for the next 4 hours, I will be talking to you about all of the features of what is going on in the news. Peter Bleksley is here, and I will tell you that it's very important that we... But, I mean, you know, get rid of the paper, mate. What's going on?
I'm so glad you stopped that impersonation. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Mike.
It's good, though, isn't it? Sounds just like him.
But the equivalent is of you sitting here and doing 4 hours of Morning Glory, coming straight out of the studio to talk to, say, for example, the media about what you've just done for a number of hours, and needing a piece of paper to reference
I don't get it.
You don't. No. You come out, you know what you've just done.
How many times have you been in court and you've seen barristers, which is what he's supposed to be, performing, because that's what they do, they're very good at it, many times, particularly criminal barristers in the Old Bailey. You know, they stand up, they make a case, you know, they appeal to the jury, they obviously appeal to the judge, they illustrate what's been going on. They don't walk around with a bit of A4, do they?
No. He's
How useless is that?
He is so dreadful. And this is, I actually find it rather concerning, because we have to unfortunately remind ourselves that this man is the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
But how can he not come out of a meeting, and he did it last week when he met the European leaders and came out with his A4 yet again, exactly the same, and not know what he's going to talk about?
Right.
How can he not know that?
No.
How can it not be in his head, having spent all day or a number of hours talking about it?
Right.
How can he not know that when he stands in front of a camera, looks down that lens, he doesn't know what he's going to say?
It's ridiculous.
It shows a shocking lack of intellectual dexterity.
Yes.
And perhaps, you know, I mean, all right, he has to have a certain level of intelligence, I get that, but he doesn't strike me as being a towering intellect.
I don't think a towering intellect is the word that you're looking for when you describe fixing the foundations. Anyway, listen, Peter Bleksley's here. We've had a break because we've got lots going on.